The invasion began with laughter. Not human laughter, but the rasping, metallic sound of something that thought itself superior. The Scythe Dominion descended upon Vega 9, humanity's frontier colony, under banners of flame and arrogance. The colony was young, barely 20,000 settlers, miners, and families under twin suns, but it stood as a symbol of humanity's quiet spread beyond Sol. To the Scythe, that symbol was an insult. Their warships arrived without warning, angular shadows cutting through the stars like serrated blades. The Scythe Admiral, Karvu, addressed his fleet before the strike, his voice echoing through alien comms. The humans are soft. They trade and talk. They have forgotten how to bleed. Burn them, and let their ashes remind the galaxy who rules. And so, the burning began. Orbital bombardment shattered the colony's domes first, white-hot lances of plasma turning cities into glass. Evacuation ships, barely launched, were picked off one by one. Children screamed in comms channels that went dead seconds later. Within hours, Vega 9 was gone, its surface a molten scar. When it was over, the Scythe fleet hovered above the ruin, their hulls reflecting the dying light of the colony's suns. Karvu watched with satisfaction. "Message to Earth," he said. "Your expansion ends here. Your world is next." He didn't know then. His words would become the prayer of his people's extinction. The arrogance of the conquerors. In the cycles that followed, the Scythe broadcast their victory across the Orion Arm. The destruction of Vega 9 became a spectacle. In their propaganda, they called humanity the fragile race, mocking the Terrans' emotional weakness and fear of war. Other alien empires watched with amusement. The humans had been the diplomats of the galactic stage, preferring treaties over war, trade over conflict. Many believed the Terrans would retreat, mourn their losses, whisper of peace, and fade quietly into their blue homeworld. On Scythe Prime, celebrations filled the spire cities. Karvu himself stood on a balcony of living metal, toasting with his officers as he watched the broadcast of Vega 9's ruin replayed for the 10th time that night. "Earth," he said mockingly, raising his chalice, "your fire dies tonight." The Scythe fleets grew bolder. They raided Terran trade convoys, seized orbital stations, and enslaved human miners. To them, humanity was nothing more than prey too civilized to bite back. And for a time, it seemed they were right. Earth remained silent. No fleets mobilized, no retaliation came. Weeks turned to months, and the Scythe High Command began to believe their own lies, that humanity had been cowed, that the Terran Republic would submit, broken and afraid. But in the silence of that assumption, Earth was listening, and in the quiet of its orbiting shipyards, Earth was building. The silence before the storm. The first sign came as whispers in the void. A Scythe patrol along the Perseus corridor vanished. A fleet of 7 cruisers, gone, no debris, no signals, just gone. Then another, and another. Their sensors detected brief power surges before each disappearance, as if something vast had blinked into existence and out again. The Dominion High Command dismissed it as spatial anomalies. They even laughed about it. But the laughter stopped when the hegemony of 9, the Scythe's third-largest fleet, encountered a single human ship near the dead colony of Vega 9. It was enormous, dwarfing their dreadnoughts, black as night and silent as death. Its transponder read, "TSF Revenant." The Scythe Admiral ordered an attack. They fired. The beams struck the ship's armor and vanished. No explosion, no visible damage. Then the Revenant spoke. A transmission, in every known language, cold and precise. "This is Earth. Your war ends now." The next moment, the stars themselves seemed to split open. Human dreadnoughts, new, unregistered, unseen before, emerged from slipspace around the Revenant. Hundreds of them, forming a halo of steel and vengeance. The Scythe Admiral managed only one command before his fleet was obliterated. Run. But there was nowhere to run. When Earth spoke in the Terran Command archives, the event was logged as Operation Nemesis. To the galaxy, it was something else entirely. The day Earth awoke. For decades, humanity had been patient, diplomatic, restrained. But Vega 9 had changed something fundamental. The Terran Senate gave a single order: no mercy, no survivors. Every shipyard from Luna to Titan began working triple shifts. Orbital stations forged war machines the galaxy had never seen. Artificial intelligences, once banned, were reactivated to coordinate the war effort. The result was not an army, it was retribution incarnate. Human fleets poured out of Sol like a stormfront of wrath, carrying banners of black and silver. Their formation patterns defied logic, guided by predictive AIs that anticipated enemy movement before it happened. Where the Scythe once mocked human emotion, they now faced it in its purest form, cold fury wrapped in steel. The first retaliation strike hit the Scythe colony of Dren-Ka, a mining world of 30 million. Orbital satellites caught only a glimpse of it before all went white. The surface was vaporized. Every structure, every life form, gone in a single pulse of kinetic light. The message arrived moments later on the Scythe Capital Network. For Vega 9. No signature, no demands, only those 3 words. The shattering of the Dominion. The Terran counteroffensive spread like a plague of vengeance. Systems fell one after another, their defenders annihilated, before they could even broadcast distress calls. The humans did not occupy, they did not enslave, they simply erased. Every world that had celebrated the fall of Vega 9 became a pirate. Scythe warlords tried to rally resistance fleets. But human strategy was unlike anything they had faced. Terran ships would appear without warning, strike with surgical precision, and vanish into folds of warped space. And when the Scythe thought they had cornered them, humanity unleashed something else. The legions of Earth. Soldiers clad in powered armor that made them look like walking titans descended from orbital drop pods. Each step shook the ground. Their helmets glowed red with targeting arrays that saw through walls and minds alike. They did not speak during battle. They did not shout or celebrate. They simply executed orders with perfect precision. Civilians whispered of them as the revenants of Vega. To the Scythe, they were ghosts, avenging shades sent by the dead. When Admiral Carvu's homeworld came under siege, he watched from orbit as 3 Terran dreadnoughts broke through planetary shields and rained silence upon his cities. He tried to hail Earth, to beg for negotiation. The response came from the same voice that had spoken before, the calm, human tone of Admiral Elias Ward. Negotiation ended when your fire touched Vega 9. Now, we speak in the language you taught us. Then the transmission cut. Moments later, Scythe Prime ceased to exist. The Night of Falling Suns, what followed became legend across the galaxy. Humanity's fleets didn't just defeat the Scythe, they dismantled their empire star by star. Entire systems went dark as orbital arrays fell. Blackout zones spread across sectors where once the Dominion's banners had flown. The Terran Navy systematically erased their supply routes, their fuel depots, their command centers, until nothing remained but drifting wreckage. Other empires, once arrogant, once amused, watched in growing terror. They sent envoys to Earth, pleading neutrality, offering tribute, even apologies. But Earth didn't answer. The humans were busy finishing their work. When the final Scythe fleet attempted to flee beyond the galactic rim, the Terrans followed. The chase lasted 13 days through uncharted voids. On the 14th, a single human ship, the TSF Revenant, emerged alone. Its transmission echoed through the stars. The Dominion has fallen. Let it be remembered what happens to those who mistake mercy for weakness. Behind it, the light of a dying star burned out, extinguished by a Terran gravity bomb. The first artificial supernova in galactic history. Echoes of the dead. When the war ended, the Terran fleets returned home in silence. No celebrations, no speeches, no parades. Earth did not glorify vengeance. It simply finished it. The ruins of Vega 9 were rebuilt, not as a colony, but as a memorial world. Its skies shimmered with a permanent aurora generated by orbiting satellites, a reminder of what was lost and what had been avenged. Visitors to Vega 9 could read the inscription carved into the planet's largest monument, written in every galactic language. Mercy is our first language, revenge is our last. For centuries after, the galaxy spoke in whispers when mentioning Earth. Diplomats lowered their voices. Commanders hesitated before issuing threats. Children across alien worlds learned the story of the humans, the quiet traders who became the storm. And when disputes arose between empires, someone would always say, "Do not wake them. Do not wake the Terrans." Epilogue. The patience of Earth. 1,000 years later, long after the ashes of the Scythe had turned to dust, a research vessel from another species discovered the remains of a human dreadnought drifting beyond the galactic rim. Its hull still bore the insignia, TSF Revenant. The logs were damaged, but one entry survived, Admiral Ward's final note. "They came for our world, thinking us broken. They found something else instead." Humanity does not seek war, but if war seeks us, then may the stars forgive what follows. The log ended there, The vessel's crew stood in silence before the shattered titan of a ship, realizing the truth the galaxy had learned so long ago. Earth's wrath was not born of conquest. It was born of memory, and memory never fades. So, when the next empire rose, and whispers spread of their growing strength, one name always lingered at the edge of every conversation: Earth. Not as prey, not as victim, but as the quiet,